everybody, it's Aurora. You're coming back with a brand new video, and please ignore the really stupid looking marks on my face. I just got done playing some VR, and so I got like some severe raccoon eyes. But I actually got done at the perfect time as I was hoping to, because we have some new leaks that just came out, or reveals I should say. They're not really leaks if they're official, are they? From the next set, which... what's it called? Supreme Darkness, I think it is. That's what SUDA stands for. And it looks like we got some evil hero support, which is interesting because on one hand, I mean, you know, more hero support, whoop-de-fucking-do. But on the other hand, evil hero is probably like one of the least explored ones, at least in a very long time. Like, they're probably the most outdated ones outside of some very specific examples. Like, I can count on like two hands, like the evil hero cards that are, sorry, 2 fingers, the evil hero cards that are played, and it's Adusted Gold and Malicious Bane. Well, okay, Dark Calling is what you search off Adusted Gold, so I guess that's technically 3 cards that you play that involve Evil Hero, but regardless, there's like, I think a whole wave of Evil Hero support, some new monsters, new back rows, so let's see if they get added into the ever-expanding hero pile, and I think there's some Neo stuff in here too, so that's interesting. Starting off, we have, not Elemental Hero, Evil Hero Toxic Bubble is a level 4 Water Fiend effect, 800 attack, 1200 defense. You can only special summon it with the first effect once per turn, and you can only use the second effect once per turn. You can special it from your hand, just period, okay? And if summoned this way, you cannot special for the rest of the turn, except hero monsters, ooh, big deal. And if this card is special summon, and you control a fusion that must be special Dark Fusion, you can draw 2 cards. Not sure how super relevant it'll be, admittedly, free extender, very searchable, and can technically give you a good draw effect, but when it comes to drawing cards like this, you don't always summon Malicious Bane in like every game, so I don't really see a massive purpose for the second effect compared to something like Liquid Soldier. By the way, this is coming from just like personal experience playing against Hero as opposed to actually playing Hero. I've never played Hero in my entire life, I don't plan on it. But I'm pretty sure that the first effect is definitely pretty good because you're going to hero lock yourself by literally breathing in that deck anyway, so it's not a big deal. And a free hero body is pretty cool, so it might see play because of specifically that. Next up, we have Evil Hero Death Prison. It might be like supposed to be Prism or something like that. Level 4 Light Rock, 700 attack, 1100 defense. Only special on first effect once per turn, only use second effect once per turn. If you control a fusion monster that must be specialed with Dark Fusion, you can special this card from your hand. And you can send a hero from your deck to the graveyard, and actually, yeah, okay, so it's literally, yeah, Prisma, because you get to copy the effect here. So it's basically just a buffed version of Prisma, which is pretty cool. It's a free Foolish, which, to be fair, you have enough Foolishes in the deck already, probably, but who's going to complain too much about more ways of sending Shadow Mist to the graveyard, or Malicious, or anything, really, because it literally just says any hero. So this one might also see play because of that. The final main deck monster coming out of this wave is Evil Hero Infernal Rider. It is a level 6 Wind Fiend, 200 attack, 800 defense. You can only use the first and second effect of this card's name once per turn. On summon, you can add a Dark Fusion from your deck or graveyard to your hand, and you can banish this card and 4 other monsters from your graveyard. Set a super polymerization from your deck, also until the end of your opponent's turn. You cannot summon except heroes, but you can fusion monsters that must be summoned with Dark Fusion with effects other than it. Okay. Can we please stop printing Super Poly support? I hate Super Poly so much. Nothing fun about that card. I'm not sure, though, admittedly, how relevant this one's going to be. I mean, Super Poly is a strong card, but I don't always see Hero really run it, especially with such a heavy restriction. Like, genuinely, having to banish 4 other monsters is kind of wild. And then also, Dark Fusion itself isn't really played so much as Dark Calling is, because Dark Calling is basically just Dark Fusion, but you get to use it as a Miracle Fusion, so you kind of want to use that more often than not, especially when you use Adusted Gold. So yeah, the first 2 I can definitely see being played, but I'm not too sure about this one. Hero players, let me know in the comments below. And they're actually getting 3 fusions here, which is a lot more than I honestly thought. Starting off, we have Evil Hero Neos Lord. It is a level 10 Dark Fiend Fusion, 2000 attack and defense. It requires Neos or 1 fusion monster that mentions it, plus 1 effect monster on the field. Must be special with Dark Fusion, and you can only use the first effect once per turn. If it's special summoned, or if a monster is sent to your opponent's graveyard while this monster is on the field, you can target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls and take control of it. Keep in mind, doesn't negate its effects, doesn't prevent it from attacking, and is not until the end of the turn, and it cannot be destroyed by battle or card effects. I can actually see this, like, being pretty relevant. I mean, it's a good disruption overall. Again, it is a permanent monster steal with both an ability to be used on your turn and your opponent's turn, so it's good going first or going second. You can easily search for Dark Calling, which is treated as Dark Fusion, to go into this in like a more Neo-based deck, or if you're playing like just the Spirit of Neos, I believe it's considered as Neos or something like that. And the protection is pretty solid on top of a decent body that can just get bigger with other card effects. Next up is an Evil Hero Inferno Wing, Infernal Backlash. It is a level 6 Fire Fiend fusion, 200 attack, 1200 defense, requires Avian or Burstinatrix plus a hero monster. Okay, so you want to use the new Prisma for that. You don't want to play these old vanillas. Must be special with Dark Fusion. You can only use the first and second effect once per turn. If it's special summon, you can add a Dark Fusion or a card that mentions it from your deck or graveyard to your hand, except a fusion. And if your hero destroys an opponent's monster by battle, inflict 2100 damage to them. I can see this card being comboed if you can get access to the Prisma and then like start going into plays with this, but I'm not too sure how relevant this would be compared to just using a Dusted Gold, for example, because I think if you're playing like a dedicated Evil Hero deck, yeah, I guess sure, but if you're playing like the big hero wombo combo mashup pile that's like mostly Elemental and Destiny heroes with like a few Masked and Vision heroes here and there, you're probably not going to be focusing too hard on this because you're only really using the Dark Calling for like Malicious Bane. I guess you might want to be able to play more cards in order to go into some of these new ones, like the Neos one, but that's in more of a Neos focused deck. Oh my god, there's so many hero decks, bro. But again, this is something that is kind of out of my vision, so again, hero players, let me know if this one's any relevant. Finally, we have Evil Hero Dark Knight, which I guess is just fucking Batman. It is a level 8 Earth Fiend with 600 attack and 0 defense, very low stats. It requires 1 Fiend and 1 Warrior, okay, so super poly target. Okay, no, but it must be special with Dark Fusion, so it's only super poly target if using level 6, blah, blah, blah. Monster your opponent controls lose attack equal to the total original attack of the fusion materials used for this card's summon. Okay, so that's why its stats are so low. It can make a second attack during each battle phase, and if this face-up special on a card you control leaves the field by your opponent, you can target 1 Fiend or Warrior in your grave and special in defense position. I don't think this is a bad card by any means. It's certainly kind of silly, a little bit gimmicky, and probably won't see play in too many like hero mashups in my opinion, because specifically you'd have to use your Dark Calling on this instead of just going Malicious Bane, which in most situations is probably better, but it is pretty funny, I'll admit. Maybe it can help you go for some OTK tools with some other cards, such as Sunrise or whatever with its stat boost. Again, let me know. Moving on to the back row, I think they have 2 spells and a trap here, yeah. We have Dark Contact, which is clearly meant to be like a Neos one. It's a normal spell that says activate one of these effects, but you can only use each effect of this card's name once per turn. Fusion summon 1 fusion monster that must be special summoned with Dark Fusion from your extra deck by shuffling its materials from your field, graveyard, and or banishment into the deck, and this is treated as using Dark Fusion. Or add a Supreme King's Castle or Dark Fusion from your deck to your hand. I don't think you're going to be using that second effect, like, literally at all ever, but I mean, what's not to like about this fusion effect? I mean, it's treated as summoning with Dark Fusion, it's a contact card, so I think there's cards that search it, right? Yeah, because it's treated as it's not only treated as Dark Fusion or whatever as the effect, but it lists Dark Fusion so you can search it off a Dusted Gold. So this might actually end up being better to search off of a Dusted Gold, so that's a pretty big win. Their next spell is Evil Assault. It is a normal spell card that says you can only use each effect once per turn. Discard 1 card. You cannot special from the extra deck for the rest of the turn, except hero monsters. Also, take 1 level 4 or lower evil hero from your deck and either add it to your hand or special summon it. And if this card is in your graveyard, except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it to add a Dark Fusion from your graveyard to your hand. Admittedly, this might actually be pretty good. So for the cost of a discard and the fact that you're probably going to get drolled right after, just like when you use E-Call, you can add either the new Bubble Man or the new Prisma from your deck to your hand, which have really good summoning conditions, of course, and have some decent effects. I mean, like, this one literally just sends Shadow Mist, can help you get some more plays going. So this might actually be a pretty solid card, and again, I still don't think you're going to play actual Dark Fusion, and this isn't treated as Dark Fusion, technically, by name, quote-unquote, unfortunately. So the second effect might not be too relevant, but the first effect is definitely pretty fucking good, considering you can either get a free special, or, I mean, you could add it to your hand to special it later anyway. Finally, we have a trap card called Dark Supremacy, which is kind of a funny name. It's a normal trap that says you can only use each effect once per turn. Target face-up cards your opponent controls up the number of Dark Fusion and spells that mention in your grave to negate their effects until the end of this turn. And if this card is in your graveyard except the turn it was sent there, you can banish it and target up to 5 heroes in your grave and or banishment, shuffle them into the deck. Not sure how relevant this would be in a more random, like, hero mashup build, but in a Dark Fusion focused build, you would absolutely want to max out on this card in terms of, like, having it as a disruption. And then the second effect kind of would be cool if it, like, drew a card after or something like that instead of just shuffling, but it looks like Konami's kind of leaning away from Pot of Avarice effects and more so just for, like, shuffle back effects, as we saw with the Abyss Sting of Triana that Mermail ended up getting. So what do I think about this support for evil hero, I suppose, coming out of Supreme Darkness? I don't think this is actually that bad, considering it's some anime support. Sorry about that random image pop-up. Considering it's, like, anime support and, like, you know, the hero support that it constantly gets, but similar to Blackwing, not all of it's good. I think it's actually not too bad. I think Toxic Bubble and Prison are actually, like, decent cards. Don't think Infernal Rider is as good. I think Neos Lord is pretty cool, not gonna lie, even though the extra deck's kind of tight. Infernal Backlash is a bit too niche for, like, regular heroes, same with the Dark Knight one as well, but would absolutely be at home in an evil hero deck. I think Dark Contact is really, really good, and I think Evil Assault is also a runner for being really good. And then we have Dark Supremacy, which isn't, like, super crazy, but in a more evil hero focused build could actually end up being a very, very good disruption. But that's just my opinion. Let me know in the comments below, especially if you are a hero player. Of course, again, I don't have too much room to talk on these cards, but that is going to do it for the video. If you liked it, please leave a like, as I'll split this video and the channel into YouTube recommended. And like I said, like the rest of my review series. I'm trying to get back into the swing of reviewing things. Then perhaps consider subscribing and turning on notifications if you haven't already, because support your channel or anything else, and it's absolutely free. Also, to support you financially, I do have a convention coming up that I really want to end up getting to have a lot of budget for. Then check out the Patreon down below. You get some awesome perks for both the $1 and $5 tiers, especially once I get back into the swing of my card game Spellbound. Patrons will have a lot of access to stuff for that as well, on top of other things such as early video access, Sleeper Sunday choices, shoutouts at the end of the video, etc., etc. But once again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. This is Aurora, signing off.